It's finally time to put the Railonics engagement into high gear. You'll have to pull together a PwC team with the right combination of tenure, skill sets, specializations, and competencies. Keep in mind, we have to make sure the staffing mix meets the engagement margin. I want to be sure that you hit all the critical benchmarks as you work through the budgeting process. So be sure to set and communicate to all involved what their budgeted hours are. Your engagement team leaders will have to set up and become familiar with the appropriate pricing tool for the project. So let's mobilize. Let's start out by discussing typical margins on an engagement. Target margin levels are set once a year. So how are you going to determine what the team is going to look like? You're working with two objectives: to get the right mix of experience and expertise, and to make sure the margins, as established, are met. Don't forget, hours for each team member need to be calculated. If you find you're constantly exceeding your hours, this has something to bring to the attention of the engagement manager. And then there are the pricing tools that we mentioned for planning the engagement economics. As a consulting solutions practitioner, we must always consider operations and profitability when creating an engagement team. Now, let's talk performance metrics. The 3 R's of performance metrics are realization, revenue, rate. This is what determines the engagement margin. Realization is an important metric for revenue accrual. It represents the percent of scale value billed divided by what is recovered by an engagement. We defined resource cost as the cost to the firm. Each individual has a resource sharing rate or cost rate. This, multiplied by their hours, is the resource cost. The engagement margin is simply the fee revenue minus the resource cost. You should remember that the total budget suggested by the client for the Railonics project is $300,000. This includes expenses too. In terms of timing, while the Railonics Board of Directors meeting is in 7 weeks, Alex will need time to review our recommendations, so our delivery deadline is 5 weeks. Sam provided guidance for an engagement margin of 30%. If you're curious, you can always explore options here. It's critical to balance the need to meet the client expectations with PwC's need to make sure the engagement is profitable. Now you have enough information to complete the appropriate pricing tool. Go to it. I can't wait to see where you net out.